Drew in Texas. Hello, Drew in Texas.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to listen to some of my favorite people hosting an awesome show today. I was super excited when I saw this announced on Twitter. So
Yay!
Sweet.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Have you got a question for us tonight?
Yeah. So just a tiny bit of background. I was taught that using birth control was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I thought if I use birth control, something bad's going to happen. And, there's going to be consequences to this. God maybe might punish me. I got a little bit, it's kind of funny that I say I got a little bit risky and decided to use a condom. and nothing happened. And including, there was no pregnancy. That was great. That was an interesting thing. But God didn't seem to care either. And so for me, that really kind of broke a little bit of the illusion that was instilled in me as a kid. And I realized, kind of thinking about, especially Adam and V, you have both had different experiences than I have, and probably had some questions, around sexuality coming to your heads much younger than I did, because I've always been a cis straight guy, and everything that I thought was sexy, God also thinks is sexy, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if any of you had that any kind of moments that made you think about theology differently or broke an illusion because, I don't know, maybe you decided, I'm going to present this way today and see how I feel. And, did you ever have any of those kinds of moments?
That's a good question. Adam?
For me, so one of the biggest, I guess, barriers broken for me was whenever I first came out to my parents. And I had a sibling who encouraged me to go to the Bible to see if I could find that it was supported. If he said that if I was going to live my life and I wanted to be a Christian, then everything I do should be supported in the Bible. Okay. So I started actually doing research, reading the Bible. What does it say? And this was whenever I encountered the liberal side of Christianity, because I really did not even know that there was another side to Christianity that was far more progressive. People who don't interpret it literally, or they actually pay much more attention to the original, instead of just relying on the translations to convey everything completely. They would actually contemplate the original language that was written in far more. And so whenever I encountered liberal Christianity, it actually made me disbelieve the Bible even more, because whenever you're raised being told that this Bible is inerrant and it is the inspired word of God and everything in it is 100% accurate and true all the time, then whenever you realize that isn't true, it can create a significant issue. For some people, they decide to retreat back to what was comfortable. For me, I was like, okay, it can't be inerrant if there are multiple interpretations. So I think that was probably one of the biggest things that happened for me regarding my identity of who I was and what theology I thought was what I felt about the Bible and God.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I've had a similar experience. My beliefs started shifting dramatically as soon as I got involved and had friends who were progressive Christians and interpreted the Bible in different ways, and I started doing it, and then I was like, wait, I'm so far from what I used to be. Am I still even a Christian? But in terms of the one thing I can think about in Drew, what you were talking about in terms of the connection between the two, I remember being very uncomfortable one Sunday because we were singing worship songs, and they were all very masculine focused. All of the words for God was King and Father and Lord and Son and all of these very masculine words, and I was very it made me uncomfortable, and I realized that I did not ascribe God a gender at all anymore. And this was after a lot of deconstruction on my part. But I remember bringing up to someone I considered to be a mentor and a friend, still a friend, but no longer a mentor, that I had a problem about this. And she was like, but God is male. I was like, but no, that's not how that works. And she was like, but it says that in the Bible. And I was like, well, men wrote the Bible. Of course, God would be a man if men wrote the Bible. And it was just this disconnect moment between understanding God and understanding how I saw gender playing out in big ways. If men are the ones writing these books, if men are the ones who are influencing the way we think about huge concepts like God that are, consistent across centuries. I don't know. It was a penny drop moment for me, and I think that understanding God as non-binary, for lack of a better term, kind of subconsciously helped open the door into, oh, that's a thing. Because it's very easy to ascribe an ethereal thing like non-genderedness to a concept like God. Less easy, at least for me, to ascribe it to a human being who, at that point in time, I'd only met people who identified with some gender. So it was an interesting moment of just, oh, that's a thing. I'm ascribing it to God. And then the God thing went away, but then I got to ascribe it to myself, which was interesting. I've never even thought about it like that. Wow. Blowing my own mind here. Thank you, Drew.
That's a really beautiful story, actually. I'm really glad that I asked that. I mean, I admire all of you guys, and I thought you might have something cool to say about that. So that's great. Thanks for your answers.
Oh, thank you so much for calling in, Drew. It was nice hearing from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your show.